everybody, I am Tiffany, and today I'm bringing you another movie review. Woo! This movie actually came out pretty recently. It actually came out the same week as Incredibles, so it is one that's kind of flown under the radar, but when I saw the preview for it, I really wanted to see this movie because it looked awesome and funny, and it had a lot of actors that I really liked in it. This is a comedy movie. It is still in theaters, so I suggest you go see it if you haven't yet. And the movie I'm talking about is Tag. That's right, the true life story of friends that play tag. Now, you may be wondering why the heck I am dressed like this. Well, if you've seen the trailer for this movie, or seen the movie in general, one of Jeremy Renner's outfits looks a lot like this, where he's like in a hoodie and is kind of smirking and he's like, I own this game. And there wasn't really anything else I could find that really fit this movie, because, well, I don't have a shirt that represents tag very well. This movie is a comedy, like I said, and it is a really great movie. I wasn't sure what to expect. I felt like it could flop or do really, really well. It did pretty good. I really enjoyed it. It had an amazing cast, and it's sad that it flew under the radar just because it came out really when Incredibles and Jurassic World were coming out. So those are two gigantic movies that everybody else was kind of focused on. For those of you who want statistics, this movie has a 7.0 on IMDb, which is a rating I wholeheartedly approve of. It's not one of those mind-blowing 8-point-something movie, but it's still really fun and deserves a pretty good rating. It's one that will definitely give you the feels and make you all warm and fuzzy and leave the theater feeling happy and wish you had a group of friends that you could play tag with for 30 years. For those of you who want a synopsis of this movie, this is based actually on a true story about a group of friends who for 30 years have been playing the same game of tag. They started when they were little, and now as full-grown adults, every year they play tag. It's really funny, and it's 10 times funnier that this is based off a true story. This movie centers around a particular year during this game because apparently Jerry Pierce, played by Jeremy Renner, is potentially quitting this game of tag because he's gonna go get married. And on top of that, he's never been tagged. So his group of friends are super determined to get him, especially if this potentially might be his last year playing the game ever. For those of you who want the actors, this stars Jeremy Renner, Jon Hamm, Ed Helms, Jake Johnson, Isla Fisher, a whole bunch of other awesome people. It has a really amazing cast. I highly recommend going to see this movie. Do I think you necessarily need to see it in theaters? No, it's not one of those super visual experiences you have to see. It's fun to see it in a theater because everybody's laughing along with you. I always love seeing movies in a theater, but it's really up to you. It's a fun movie. It's not super inappropriate, not completely kid-friendly, but not super inappropriate. So if you need a good, feel-good movie, this is definitely the movie for you. If you want to cry your eyes out, this is not the movie for you. This one's going to make you more laugh and giggle. And make you really value your friendships in life, because friends are amazing. And bonds like that should last forever. That is really all I can tell you, though, without spoiling you. So I suggest you go watch this movie and then come back and we can discuss and talk about all the wonderful feels together. Bye, non-spoilery people. Go find an amazing group to play tag with and go watch the movie and then come back and we discuss together. Alright, goodbye! Don't be it in tag! I had no idea what to expect. I thought it probably would be pretty funny because I do like the actors in it, or at least I figured I would enjoy myself. I am a person who is very easily entertained by movies, so I do understand that some movies that I really like people think are absolutely awful. I didn't know if this was going to be one of those movies. I love Jeremy Renner. I love Jon Hamm. Those were the two top people I went to see this movie for, so I knew I was going to be okay because I had those two in the same movie. But like I said, it was a super fun ride. I do really like how the story transformed and how it changes actually, because the actual goal or the purpose for this year isn't what you think it is. I think it's all about Jerry Pierce trying to tag him, which it is. It also centers around Hogan Malloy, played by Ed Helms. The opening sequence was absolutely hysterical and it set the whole tone for the entire piece. This dude, Hogan, gets a job as a janitor at his friend's job in order to tag him. And in the middle of a Wall Street Journal interview, decides to go and tag him. You automatically get set up up with how this group of friends are, because they do not care what the heck you are doing at the moment or how embarrassing it is. They will come and tag you, and that is absolutely 100% amazing. And then I also loved the journalist too. I really like how she decides to go along with the story. I felt like that was a little bit abrupt in a way. She's focused on one thing and then all of a sudden she's just like, oh no, I'm going to come with you now and write a whole article on it. Which is cool because there is an actual article. You should read it. I have not, but I should read it too. But I don't know, it felt a little bit abrupt as to why she went. But at the same time, this movie didn't necessarily require all of that. That's one thing that I liked about it, is you didn't have a ton of backstory with the characters. You just got enough that they've been super good friends for a really long time, gave you a tiny little bit of backstory when needed, and that was it. And it actually worked beautifully for this movie. You didn't need all that backstory. It was about focusing on the present day and what was happening then, there, and now. It didn't have to have a lot of past in order to make the present work, if that makes any sense. Jeremy Renner was fantastic in this movie. I love so much how they parodied the thing from the Sherlock movies with the slow-mo. That cracked me up so much. If you haven't seen the Sherlock movies, by the way, go see those too. They're pretty awesome. And they have the slow-mo part in the Sherlock movies where he's fighting someone and he goes through all of these calculated moves, such as going to punch him into his left jaw. He is weak in the hip, so I'm going to jab him on the right. It's just funny. It's super cool in those movies. And this one, they parodied it because it's taken so seriously. As his friends are running toward him, he analyzes every little thing like it's the most serious thing on the planet. That's what I loved about his character. His character took it so seriously, to an extreme even, because the miscarriage joke was not funny. It was still super, super funny how they parodied that aspect of Sherlock. And I love that they decided to do that. That made my whole entire movie experience, because I love Sherlock and I love Jeremy Renner, and it kind of combined them both, and it was just blah, mind-blowing awesome. My favorite try at going to get his character was with Hogan when he dresses up as the old lady and he drops his purse. That whole sequence was just absolutely hilarious. Jeremy Renner recognizes him right away. Ed Helms is just fantastic. He is so funny. I love almost every single movie he's in. If you haven't seen The Hangover, he's in that too. He's just great. The whole mall is watching them and filming it and being like, what the heck towards them? What the heck is happening? You just experienced the most epic game of tag. That's what happened. Your lives just got 10 times better. All of the characters were super relatable. I loved Hogan's wife, Isla Fisher. She was hilarious. She is the epitome of competitive. She is scary competitive. And I know people like that in my life, that if we play tag, they would go to that extreme that she does. Like when she's sitting down with the journalist and she kind of asks why Isla Fisher isn't playing the game and how the guys made it that only they could play, and then as they go by on the golf carts, Isla Fisher stands up and is just like, you go get him, you don't let him get away, blah, 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 blah. And just goes back to a cool, calm demeanor of, where were we? She's fantastic. She's amazing. I know I keep saying that about every actor, but that's one reason I loved this movie so much, because the cast was so good. The only person that I didn't find super relatable was Susan Rollins, who's actually played by Leslie Bibbs. I don't know why. Her character just really annoyed me. I don't know if that was the purpose of it or if you were supposed to sympathize with her more because it was her wedding day. I just didn't really like her character that much. I felt like she kept getting in the way of this game, and I think that's the point, is that she's supposed to get in the way, but I don't know if she was supposed to come off as annoying as she was, because at the end, especially when she sees them at the wedding, you don't get the awesome reaction that you're hoping for when they show up, that she looks at them and just goes, oh crap. No, she doesn't do that. She just is smiling and is like, hey guys, I'm so sorry I had to fake a miscarriage, what? And I'm just sitting there thinking, this person is awful. I get that Jerry was also part of it and you don't like him in that moment at all, but Jerry, they give you moments where you really do like his character and understand him more, where I feel like her character didn't get enough screen time maybe for you to actually like her. It just came off as irritating for me. At the end there was that good turnaround where Hogan's in the hospital and she's there with her husband, of course, and then she joins in, which is super fun. That was great. I liked that turn. But I just feel like they didn't give her enough leeway at the beginning for you to actually kind of grow to like her a little bit. before she does all of the crazy stuff that her and Jerry do. Out of all the characters, she was the one I liked the least. Leslie Bibb still did a fantastic job, though. She is a great actress, so please don't get me wrong about that. I just didn't like the character. I didn't feel like she had enough arc. I was just getting annoyed and saying, let them play their game of tag. Just let them, alright? You're going to have him for life. You're going to have to deal with this. So stop. No one interrupts the game of tag. The ending was fantastic. I really liked it, and it was heartbreaking, but I did like the way they handled it, because this whole time you think the whole focus is just on Jerry and trying to tag Jerry. And then you find out the true reason why this year is so important is because it's not Jerry who's quitting. Hogan might quit. Not because he wants to, but because he has a tumor. He might die. He might not be there. And it punches you in the gut. And I think that says a lot for this movie, because in such a short period of time, you really grow to love these characters. And you don't have all of their backstory and how they grew up and everything. You just have the present time that they've been playing tag. That's really it. And you really grow to care about them. I was touched. I almost teared up a little bit there. It brought me back to my own friends and the relationships I have in my life. And just feeling really thankful to have them, and knowing that life is going to happen and stuff's going to happen, but that bond is always going to be there. You just feel that sentiment at the end of this movie, and you feel the heartbreak when you hear him say that he might not be around for the next year for tag. And even that whole last sequence where everybody is playing tag in that hospital, your heart is just warm and fuzzy inside, because everybody is allowed to play now, and it's just this whole moment of connection. And it really brings home the points that this whole movie was making, was tag wasn't about trying to get away from each other. It was a way to connect and see each other after so many years and living so far away from each other. And I think that's so important, is to keep connected with those people who are important in your life. I have really strong relationships in my life, and I know they're just going to continue to grow and build. I want that 30 years down the line where we can all just meet up randomly, even though we've gone all in different directions, that we can still meet up and reminisce and have a good time and act like we used to when we were young. I find it really cool that these group of guys were actually able to keep it up. I loved the credit scenes too, because if you stuck around for them, they actually show real life clips of these people tagging each other and getting each other in the most ridiculous fashions. That is all I really have to say about this movie. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, you can leave them in the comments below. Also, there's a link to my blog in the description that will give you updates on when I post new videos. If there isn't going to be a video for some reason during the week, it'll just keep you updated on everything. Also on my acting career too, because I do like to blog about what's been going on in that as well. I'll try to keep it updated as much as I can. I'm not perfect with it, but that is the place to go to if you really want updates, if I'm not able to do an update video or anything like that. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an awesome day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. Goodbye, you guys. Goodbye. Wah!